First of all, I'd like to ask, what inspired you and the other authors to write the book?
Well, you know, American Humane Association is getting ready to celebrate our 75th anniversary of our iconic and historic program, No Animals Were Harmed. And being the fact that we've been working to ensure the humane treatment of animal stars for 75 years, we thought it was time to share the behind the scenes with our favorite animal actors and put together a collection of stories that really give everyone the inside scoop as to what happens, how animal stars are found, how they're trained, and certainly how they perform their cues so beautifully in film and entertainment. It's really an inside look, an inside peek into what it is to be a bird, a bear, a snake, a dog, a cat, or even a monkey in television and film today.
When you were working on the book, was there anything you particularly enjoyed or disliked about writing the book?
Oh, absolutely, Mark, and thanks for asking that. You know, what this book does, it gave me a chance to actually meet and talk with some of the world-class animal trainers who have worked in the industry for such a long time and have brought to life on the movie some incredible animal stars' portrayal. You know, I got to go behind the scenes and meet with a gentleman by the name of Bobby Lovegren. Now, Bobby Lovegren is a famous horse trainer in Hollywood. He is the gentleman who worked with the gorgeous horse Finder, who portrayed Joey in Steven Spielberg's War Horse. So we got to meet Joey, also the real name Finder, that beautiful horse, and got to see both Bobby and Finder interact and really get to see how Bobby worked with Finder to really show his just beauty in that beautiful Steven Spielberg film. Also got to meet some very interesting trainers. One is Jules Sylvester, who works with Hollywood snakes. So he's done a lot of the snake movies. If you recall that scary movie, Snakes on the Plane, his 18-foot Burmese python named Kitty starred in that movie. He also provided over 400 other snakes for Snakes on the Plane. What was interesting about that, I know, it's a lot of snakes, and, you know, between you and me, Mark, I just don't like all the snakes all the time. You know, they make me a little nervous. I have a healthy respect for snakes. And I asked Jules, Jules, how do you get the snakes to act? You know, how do you get that to happen? And he said, you don't train snakes. You train the human actors to stay far away from them. And that just made me smile. That made me just chuckle. And there's, of course, other incredible stories. One that I love so much is with Casey the bear. Casey is the bear that was the inspiration with the Jungle Book. He was in Back to the Future, just a number of leading roles. Casey the bear was the bear star. And Casey had a little diva quality about him, as, you know, we have human stars with some diva qualities. Well, I asked the trainer if the bear had a diva quality, and sure enough, he had a very specific demand. And his demand was for a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken before he would perform. And if a producer would get the wrong kind of chicken, it wouldn't work. If he got anything other than the original recipe, KFC, it wouldn't work. Casey always required a fresh bucket of KFC original recipe. So, and then he would do his cues perfectly and go through the scene and be just a perfect animal star. But he had to have his bucket of fried chicken. So that was one of those inside stories that made you chuckle. And then, of course, you get to hear and see some of the stories with, you know, the human stars interacting with their animal co-stars. And you get to hear a little bit about Richard Gere's experience with the dog that played Hachi, Chico. That's a beautiful story. And one of my favorites, Mark, is so relevant today, and we didn't know it when we were writing the book, of course, but we, you know, have a chapter devoted to Crystal, the adorable capuchin monkey, who has been in so many movies. The list is a mile long, from Night at the Museum to the Hangover series. You know, she's a famous capuchin. And one of Robin Williams' last movies, of course, was Night at the Museum. and he just filmed that, and one of his last social media posts was him spending his birthday with what he said, my favorite beloved leading lady, and it was Crystal. Crystal the Capuchin spent his birthday, his last birthday with him,
Yeah.
and he had such joy on his face when he posted that photo, and it just made me smile to know how much these human stars love their animal co-stars and how special they are.
Okay, then the next one is a bit more about animals in movies. From working on the book, what is the usual task and things that the no animal were harmed staff would have to do during the movies? What is it what they look out for most during that?
That's a great question. So no animals were harmed has, evolved over the 75 years that we've been working in film and entertainment, really adapting to the way movies are made today. And it's tremendously different than it was certainly 75 years ago. Today, American Humane Association deploys licensed veterinarians to many of the movie sets around the globe, which that licensed animal doctor is there to make sure that the animal star is absolutely safe while it's working. That's very powerful. And now accidents on sets are so few and far between, thankfully. So when I go to a movie with an animal star in it, I know when American Humane Association's been on set, wherever that set is around the globe, that those animals are kept so safe. In fact, often so much safer than the human stars are. We know we have licensed veterinarians on the film set. We have animal behaviorists on the film sets. These are folks who are so well trained in animal welfare. And the standards they adhere to are our famous certification standards of guidelines for use of animals in film and entertainment. That guideline is the only, well, first of all, we're the only sanctioned group to protect animal stars in the entertainment industry. And the certification guidelines are science and evidence-based practices developed by some of the world's leading behaviorists and doctors who've determined what is safe for an animal star to do.
In your opinion, what do you think are the most important skills for an animal trainer?
Well, animal trainers today, first of all, they have such a love and respect for the animal. So what I love when I see an animal trainer is that they have compassion, they have a love and a respect for the animal in which they're training. If you come out of any positive training methods with a heart full of compassion and respect, then of course the animal trainer will be much more successful and the animal will be humanely treated. And that's amazing. So many of these animals, these cats and dogs and, gosh, even some of the wildlife that I cover in this book have actually been rescued from accidents, from disasters, from animal shelters. And they've been really given a second chance at being at life in many cases. And what I love about that is the second chance at life is actually to become a movie star. How cool is that? And once again, it's these animal trainers who are rescuing these animals, animals from animal shelters, animals from wildlife sanctuaries, and giving them a second chance at life. And these animals get to be so beautifully treated, humanely treated, and they get to become a star. And it's so much fun to see these interactions.
What do you think are the biggest challenges that the human film crews and the animals face when working together?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, which is such a wonderful question, and I'm so glad you asked that, is the fact that we continue to need to educate the industry as to best practices in film and television for animal stars. There are a number of areas, particularly reality television, where they're not required to call out to American Humane Association. I think we have an opportunity now to educate those that play in the reality TV space to embrace no animals were harmed, because there are a number of shows that do make me nervous when they're in the reality TV realm where they're not using our services, and I am concerned about the treatment of those animals.
Thank you. And now a more fun question. Who is your favorite anime movie star?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble if I answer that one. I've got 30-some stars in this wonderful book, and you're going to ask me to choose one. That's not fair. I will have to tell you that on page 3 of the book, you will see a photo of me with Crystal. And Crystal is giving me a kiss on the cheek after she's poured yogurt all over my hair. I thought this picture would always be a private family photo. And, of course, when the publishers saw it, they said, this must be featured in the book. And it's, to me, one of those photos that I never would want out in public because I've got yogurt all over my hair. But, you know, how can you not fall in love with Crystal? But then again, I also love Finder. And I love that beautiful cat from Meet the Fockers, Peanut. And Peanut's protege, you know, is incredible too. And you just, every chapter there's an animal to fall in love with. So I can't say I have a favorite. I have 30 favorite, and they're all in the book.
I know, it was a bit of a mean question. I just thought I have to find out if there is one, but that is perfect. Okay. What would you recommend to those wishing to work in the movie industry with animals in one way or another?
You know, when I think about animals working in film and entertainment, it's the incredible animal trainers that we need to ensure that we're embracing the ones that have been world class. Not everyone in our neighborhood can be an animal trainer. It takes a certain skill set, and I think we need to really embrace those that have chosen to make this as a profession, that are doing it following science and evidence-based practices, are doing it the right way. Those are the ones that we need to uplift. Those are the ones we need to hire in production settings, because we know that they're doing it the best way for the animal. And we're all about, as we've been for 75 years, ensuring the humane protection of those animal stars. So keep in mind, we were back in 1939. America was in an outrage over a film called Jesse James, when they were driving horses off of cliffs and breaking these horses' necks just for the sake of a movie. And that's when wonderful icons like Henry Fonda stepped up and said, we shouldn't do this anymore. And joining forces with the American Humane Association, we created our program. So here we are 75 years later, still advocating, being the voice for the animal star. And it's incredibly rewarding work. It's also incredibly tough work. Our folks work very hard on these sets to ensure the protections, because these are long days. But it's, once again, so rewarding when you see the end, you see the animal in the movie, and you know that they have been completely safe.
Fantastic, thank you. And then one last question. What do you enjoy the most about being part of the AHA?
Well, American Humane Association hired me about 3.5 years ago to be their president and CEO. And that was a day where I felt so many blessings. This is a job where I have not just a day-to-day in and out. You know, I actually believe this is part of a calling to be able to be the voice for children and animals in our country and beyond, to really call the need for people to rally around the compassion movement, and for folks to be able to be educated on the fact that the way we treat our most vulnerable is really a sign of humanity itself. So as I look at this, it's not a job. It's a calling. It's a blessing. It's an opportunity to help make a meaningful difference in this world, meaningful difference for our most vulnerable and those that don't have a voice.
Thank you very much. And that were all my questions. So unless you'd like to add anything personal, that would be it from me.
Well, that's all I have, Mark. I have a lot of cats and dogs and kids myself, in case you wanted to know that. So it's certainly a personal journey for me as well.
So how many cats and dogs do you have then?
Well, I have 3 cats, 3 dogs, and my mother and I share ownership of 4 horses. So we have a lot of animals in our lives, and we love them all.
Oh, well, you've actually just been joined by little guest, because one of my little cats decided to perch down on the paper as I'm trying to write everything down. Just look at me like, What's going on? Why is it not my time right now?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Okay then, thank you so much for your time today. It was really nice talking to you.
Oh, we're thrilled. Thank you so much for covering this book. It's one of our favorite projects. So thank you.